When we look at political consciousness, it is we are beginning to see that it is an exploration of who we are, how we have been shaped through education, which is the tool that the colonizers used, and also how our values and experiences, as well as actions, can contribute to a better world for all, can contribute to a better Africa for all. And one of the most important things that people also looked at is when one got politically conscious, you were able to see the injustices that were being perpetrated on your communities or in individuals. And you could all, because you are politically conscious, you are in a position also to see those who are working for or those who are working against you. And there were quite a number of people. And even today, as we try to build our countries and our economies, we still have people who pander to the whims of the Western people only for the few coins that they get at as they sell Africa. So one most important thing that in the case of Zimbabwe, what our liberators did was to make sure that they work with the people, with the Black people, conscientize them on who they are, where we are, their history, and what is it that we need to achieve. And it was important for them to also indicate to them the importance of their role as civilians to make sure that they come out from the quagmire that they were, to come out of the challenges that they were experiencing. There was unity, there was need for unity. Each one of the people, be it those that were at the war front and those that had remained in the villages, to make sure that they support those who are at the forefront and ensure that they remain united with one particular vision. Even though we had the people that were called the sellouts, they would go to the colonizers and inform them of what is happening. But the resolve that the people had made as a united body with those that were on the war front, it was very difficult to defeat the people. So in whatever you do, especially if you intend to win, you must make sure that you have the absolute support of the people. And the people must be informed of what is happening, particularly when it comes to the objectives of what you are doing. And this was done through what were termed night vigils. This is when we had people that who were at the war front, who were called political commissars, playing an active role, a very important role in educating people of who they are, so that they get to know of their identity, where they are coming from, and what we needed to achieve. And these political commissars played a very important role in giving political consciousness to the people who had remained in the villages, so that they can work with those at the war front in defeating the enemy. And they needed to define who the enemy was at that particular time. The enemy may not have been necessarily the people, but it had to be the system that was prevailing at that particular time. So in whatever the liberators and the people were doing, it sought to fight the system, so that the system, when it is dismantled, we have the kind of freedom that we have. it was not particularly against individuals, but a system that they had put in place so that it can make each and everyone in rural areas and in towns subservient to those who had colonized us. And the other thing also, it became very easy for those that had got political consciousness before those that were in the before those who were in the rural areas to convince them, because it was very clear of the modus operandi that these colonizers were using. They wanted to occupy a bigger space, whilst there are very few. And a very small space would then be designated for the majority of the people. So for those who had earned the political consciousness much earlier than others, it was very easy to articulate these issues, because on the other hand, the colonizers were not very clever in manipulating the system to their benefit. So even today, as we speak, we still have people that do not want to see things in Africa happening the way they are supposed to happen under the leadership of a black leader. They are easily bought by the whites, because what the whites, the colonizers wanted, they still want it today. They wanted the world, the resources that are on the African continent. So they try by all means to use the divide and rule tactic, where they get some of you and give them money so that they can create discontent among people and disharmony among communities. And when that happens, they find a way of getting the resources, plunder the resources. And when they've plundered the resources, they will leave our Africa. And it is time that these who haven't seen the modus operandi of the whites see it clear and avoid them, so that we can work together as Africans to build our African continent.
It is very important that somebody get that message, in that the fight hasn't ended. In fact, one time I was arguing with a friend. I said the fight should have stopped, because some people thought that the fight is over. The fight is not over. We are not yet free. The fight is only over when you are free. You can't be in the forest and begin to remove the thing that are falling on your head. You're not yet out of the forest, you see. So what I would like to ask now is that, looking at those days, when you were a youth, and your formation, and now today, looking at the youth, it might be now your children that are growing up, and other people, of course, like them. How do you see their participation in government? Because, like I said before, the battle is not over yet.
It is very important that leaders on the African continent listen to our youth, because the greatest percentage in terms of population are youths who are the leaders and the citizens of tomorrow. And it is also important that for these youths to be given the baton by the current leaders, they must be actively involved in politics. The challenge that we have seen with many of our youths today is that they think that politics is for the old people. It is not for their generation. And they will only awaken when they are also in the 40s and thereabout. Yet, as early as 18 or 16, you can easily actively participate in leadership roles in their political parties, and even in government. And this is a deliberate move to make sure that these leaders, the young leaders, they can learn the ropes from the current leadership which is there, so that as we see the current leadership going into retirement, we will not have new people coming in, but these current leaders, youthful leaders, can graduate and take up the reins.